Okay, I've been asked to explain why I think I should be on the Real World Casting Group. I've looked through the website for the last couple of days after my daughter asked me to go on and vote for a friend of hers. I found it rather entertaining, amusing, and cannot possibly fathom why I'm doing this other than it seems like a lot of fun, and it also seems like an opportunity to maybe re-engage with an entirely different generation. I have long thought that America is going through what I would call the dumbing down of America. If you look at the Far East, math and science scores are still on an incline going upward. Uh, Here in America, we seem to be losing a lot, and I just find it very intriguing that there's so much more interest in the 15 minutes of fame, and I don't know exactly what to say other than the fact that I'd like to be on just to explore a little further as to what the mindset is. I've got children that are around this age group. I've got a 26-year-old son, Sam, 22-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, and I also have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And the 7-year-old and 5-year-old, Skylar and Savannah, I'm much more concerned about what the world is going to be like when they reach my age, let's say, which is pretty old. I cannot help but think that unless we turn the ship around, and I'm not sure we can turn the ship around, but it's almost like this mindless flopping around that nobody has any passion or purpose. And I don't mean to sound critical. If ever there were an optimist about anything, it would be me, really. I have had an interesting life. I've certainly not been one who's hidden behind the desk or lived in a safe world. I've certainly lived on the edge most of my life. I've enjoyed every minute of it, but at the same time, I think that there has been some pursuit of knowledge or why we're here or some purpose rather than just flopping around altogether. That's not to say that I probably didn't do a lot of that when I was 19 and 20, but I'm really much more interested in what it is that makes that happen now and why so much of it is just not anything but just passing time. I've done a lot of thinking about how the world has changed over the last 12 years. A lot of it, I think, has become a world in which we have committed what used to be privy to a little group of mind, and that is a world of the need for immediate gratification. And I think through cell phones and laptops, certainly have to have them in my business, but they're quite an intrusion on one's life. And what I see is everybody absolutely has to have the cell phone and laptop with them at all times. And they also use the cell phone and laptop at all times trying to access. It's almost like an octopus with tentacles going everywhere, making sure everyone knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And even this right here, this video is nothing more than allowing the world a glimpse into my life, which I find rather odd that I'm doing this as a lark, yet I'm doing the same thing that you guys are doing. I think the next big business, quite frankly, that's going to be coming is any business that involves how do we unplug. Because there is no time anymore for anyone to sit there and take a few minutes in their day and really collect their thoughts, think about what it is they're doing and why they're doing it, and find out where they want to go in life. We're so plugged in, no one can possibly ever have that moment of peace or serenity in which they can collect and move forward. I don't know that it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just find it interesting that technology seems to be moving at the speed of light compared to the ability for human beings to process. And I know this is a bunch of rambling. I know this is a bunch of nonsense in its own right because I am 57 and most of you guys are 19, 20, 21, 24, 25. But it still intrigues me, and I would really like to be in this house just to sit there and be able to ask questions, and get a little more insight from where you think the world is going to be in the next 50 years. I mean, you look at our economy, you look at the trade deficit with China, you look at everything moving offshore. Hell, I think I'm going to be moving offshore. Anyway, that is primarily why I'm here. Other than starting as a lark, I've thought about it. The more I've looked on this entire site, the more interesting it has become, the more of an obsession it's become as far as me trying to find out what it is that goes on in the mind of a 19 or a 20-year-old, much less a 5 or 7-year-old, which I have no control over now anyway. Anyway, thanks a lot.